What's happening? It's your boy Supreme, and this is Invader Talk, a podcast for millennials and Gen Zs to bridge the gap between tribe by learning through one another. So today I'm here with my girl, Dr. Kim Duramo. How are you doing?
I'm great. It's really fun to be here.
I really appreciate
I didn't know I was
being
going
here
to get
today.
to be your girl.
I mean, in Invader Nation, welcome to Invader Nation. That we're all about learning through one another. So now you are a part of Invader Nation, so you are my girl.
Yep.
But I really appreciate you for joining me today. I think this is going to be a very dope talk because it's a lot of stuff going on right now. I'm recognizing there's a sort of shift in consciousness, and that's what you're all about. Let's just jump straight into it with, can you help me define consciousness in like a simple term before we start really getting in depth about consciousness?
Sure. I would say consciousness is the container in which everything is happening. So if I'm in a consciousness of love, then everything that happens, I can embrace it. If I'm in a consciousness of fear, then everything that happens is a threat. So am I in the consciousness of, it's really love or fear. But what consciousness is what holds the space for everything that's happening. And we are the ones who determine that.
Okay. And like when you say like we determine it, how do you mean we determine that?
We can come from a space of love. We can come from a space of joy. We can come from a space of ease. We can also come from a space of anger, fear, shame, where, I'm not good enough. What's wrong with me? And the way we see everything is going to be perceived through that lens. And it literally creates reality. So, as a physician, that's where I've studied, and what I've looked at is how that creates what's happening in the body. Our cellular messengers, our neurology, our brain activity, it's all dependent on our consciousness.
Yeah, that's crazy because me, as I get into spirituality more, I start to do stuff like meditate, and I see how there's a relation between my mind and my body, like just having a clear mind and my body, and how me being fit. And you are a best-selling author, Mind Body Toolkit. So let's break into the toolkit and let's see. I know there's 10 steps. Can you tell me the steps?
Well, I'll tell you kind of what the premise of the book is. So having studied mind-body medicine for decades and being fascinated by the body's ability to heal itself, the mind and body connection, I read a lot about what's happening here, psychoneuroimmunology, how all of our cells are always communicating. Every cell has receptors for every emotion that we could possibly be in. And that will actually change what's happening cellularly. It's changing what's happening with, just your body's chemistry, the level of health, whether your body can detoxify, easily digest, have a strong immune system to keep you healthy, or whether your body's just fallen apart and you develop, disease. So I understood a lot about that, but then I wanted to have a way, so what do I do with this? Now I understand the mind and body are connected. The body heals itself. How do I activate that? So now what? And so when I wrote my book, because there really hadn't been one that was like that, it was about how do we apply this? So 10 tools you can use anytime, anywhere to activate this self-healing mechanism. And so we can definitely go through some of them because they're really, really powerful, but it's, a way to take charge of what's happening instead of be a passive bystander for your health, or pushing the boulder up the hill for, I just got to eat better, or I just got to work out more, and like working really hard. How can you let it be effortless? Because you're setting the stage for your body's ability to heal itself, which is, fluid, effortless, natural. So, basically I wrote the Mind Body Toolkit to be, an explanation of this underlying science, but then how do you apply it, and what are the tools, and what do you do right now?
Okay, so let's jump into like the first step then.
So it's one of the main pieces, and I saw this myself. I was suffering with an autoimmune illness, I didn't understand what was wrong with me. And I didn't know I had an autoimmune illness. I just knew I felt like crap all the time. I was exhausted. My body was gaining weight. I couldn't do the things I did before. I had a lot of brain fog. And I thought, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And for like a couple of years, that was my question, and any time a doctor would say, oh, well, we don't know what's wrong with you. It was like I had to search harder and I had to look harder. But the reality was, once I found out, after dozens of doctors trying to figure out what's going on, and then I was told, like, you're going to have this for the rest of your life. And this is just the way your body is. And you're going to need all these medications and changes. And I realized, like, this cannot be true for me. That is so heavy. And I know more is possible. And so the biggest key for me was, what's right about this I'm not getting. I had to start asking better questions. My body was trying to talk to me, but I didn't know how to listen. And everything I was feeling as a symptom went into the container of what's wrong with me. So if we can start to ask, what's right about this I'm not getting, or just ask better questions, it really changes everything that's happening in our system. So this is one of the tools. I think it was tool number 6. Can't remember right now, but ask better questions. So you've got to look at, what are you asking, whether it's dealing with an illness, what's wrong with me, and then shifting it to, wait a minute, what's actually right about this I'm not getting, or what's my body trying to communicate with me, or how could this illness be healing me, be freeing me? Because I was in the consciousness of, I got to work harder. I've got to do better. I've got to achieve. I've got to overcome. I've got to, show up in my life. And I was in medical school at the time. So you can imagine there's lots of ways for me to really max out on that. But it maxed out my body because I was constantly sending my body the signal, I'm not good enough. I've got to do more. I've got to push harder. And that was, the template that created this imbalance and this disease. And then my body's on board for like, no, Kim, let that go. You're whole and complete. And so it was actually sending me the message to let that go. So until I began to decipher it, it didn't make any sense. But the day I began asking a better question, it was so evident and so clear. And my illness dissolved, began dissolving right away. So whether you're dealing with an illness or a challenge in a relationship or, work, money, whatever, asking better questions like, what else is possible here? What else is possible that I haven't imagined? It literally triggers a change in your brain activity, your nervous system firing, your immune system, and even your digestive system all begin to work differently. Not when you answer the question, just by being in the energy of the question.
Okay, that makes sense. To ask a better question, to basically realize what the question is. Like, if you eat something, and instead of saying, why is my stomach hurt, what did I eat, or what was in what I ate, rather than just saying, what's wrong with me?
Which is another way, you're looking like, what's wrong with me? Did I eat something? Did I do something? What did I do wrong? What can I do better? And you drive yourself on a wild goose chase of that hamster wheel. But if you instead could ask, what will nurture my body the most right now? Most people ask, what should I eat? What should I eat? And it should, right? Well, should is judgment. Should is based in fear consciousness. But what if you could just ask, body, what will nurture you the most right now? Now you're in a different frequency, a different consciousness of self-nurturance, self-love. I'm okay. I have what I need. It presupposes that the body has what it needs, because what do you need right now? What will nurture myself the most? So that's a big shift. We talked about like quantum shift. That's a quantum shift. Your body is mostly energy, not mostly physical. And that's why these tools are so powerful.
Yeah. And it's crazy because, like you said, your body's mostly energy, but we don't look at food. We kind of look at food like a video game for enjoyment rather than what it actually does for our body. Just like you said, when you eat that bad thing, the next question you ask is, what's good for me now? Like, what can help me now? Can you tell me, like, for you, what diet is, how important diet is?
Well, it's like you said, everything is energy. So when we see it like food is physical, our body is physical, it's really limiting. So we end up with I've got to read 20 books to figure out what I should eat, what I shouldn't eat. But if we remember that food is energy and our body is energy, there's a lot of science that shows it's more about how you feel rather than just what you eat. So if you're like, all right, I'm going to eat a, piece of cake, great, but let's connect with the body first. So you take a few breaths, you connect with body, maybe you do some of the tools that are in the Mind Body Toolkit or EFT tapping, and you just let your body come into a space of, I'm loved, I'm well, it's okay. You may or may not still want that chocolate cake, because I guarantee you when you come even 2% into a shift of higher well-being, body, I'm here, you're okay, have a few breaths, you don't have those same cravings that come when you're in a space of emptiness, when you're in a space of fear, when you're in a space of rushing, I've got to do more. And then the body has all these cravings because the body's like, no, you're putting your body in a suppressive state. So food will have a much more negative impact when you're in that inflamed state. So if all you did was put your hand on your heart, take a few breaths and relax and say, body, I love you. It's okay to feel whatever you're feeling now. And let's just have a few deep breaths to release whatever I'm holding so I come into higher well-being. And it doesn't need to be complicated. As you practice that, it could just be 2 breaths. It could just be a little shift. And your body registers that. You shift your cellular, your brain firing, your cellular chemicals, your messages, your immune system, everything that's happening. And all of a sudden, what you desire to eat has dramatically changed because there's no more craving. But number 2, you've actually prepared your body to be receptive and extract the nutrients out of the food you do eat and release the waste products and anything that you don't need. So you're activating your body's ability to take care of these things in a really powerful way.
Okay. So what you're saying is, I never heard that. When your body is, I guess you could say, in a healthier state, it absorbs food in a different way than it would in the beginning when you first started to consume healthier foods.
Yeah, your body has a really powerful ability to detoxify. So, I'll give you a great story. I was in my residency and I knew, I didn't eat a lot of gluten. I didn't eat a lot of the stuff maybe other people were eating because I knew it just made my body feel really sluggish and tired. But this particular day, I forgot my lunch. And I usually pack like really good food, take good care of myself. And that night I was on call. So I knew I was going to be going for like another, I don't know, let's call it like 20 something hours. And at lunch, there we were, and we had a group, a Grand Rounds event. So they had pizza. And here I was like, dang, I'm starving. I have to go another 20 hours. I don't have my food and I'm going to have to eat pizza, or nothing. And so I was clear eating nothing was not going to do me any good. I was going to be lethargic and just pass out eventually. But I knew pizza, and I had such an aversion to it. So I said to myself, all right, body, if we can clear this and be in harmony with that pizza, and receive that pizza as a way to nurture me through the next 20 hours, as a way to bring my body into greater energy and vitality. What would it take for me to receive this pizza, enjoy it, let my body, receive what it needs and get rid of what it doesn't need. And I ate the pizza and I felt amazing. I felt energized. I felt, able to move through my whole shift and keep going and going. It was a completely different experience of pizza. But I realized in that moment, wow, if I can transmute my experience of pizza, what else is possible? It's not about saying, oh, I'm just going to eat all these other foods and not eat, vegetables or healthy foods. It's not about I'm going to make this bag of Doritos be healthy. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying that sometimes life is giving you something. And if you reject it and judge it, this is wrong, this is bad, these are bad foods, and these other ones are good foods. When you're in judgment, it blocks your body's ability to receive. When you clear that, however, you're going to naturally gravitate toward healthier, richer foods. So foods that are whole, foods that are fresh, foods that are organic, they're just going to feel better in your body. So it's kind of a two-part thing. One is getting your body to be in harmony with food so it can do what it's capable of doing. But the other thing is when you're in that state of neutrality, self-love, well-being, you're naturally going to want the foods that are best for your body.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I found that kind of in my own practice as well. Once I began to be plant-based, I started having different cravings. Instead of honey buns, it was like, I want some fresh strawberries. But
Yeah.
like at first, like you said, it really wasn't like that, and I was still going to the gas station every few days and feeling bad about myself. But once I gained that, I guess a more clearer mind, and you kind of briefly spoke on like using breaths and affirmations. Can you give me some daily practices that you would recommend to somebody for raising their consciousness?
Yes. So one of the things that really speaks powerfully into the body is your awareness. So if you're, most people are pretty checked out. They're like living up in their head. They're thinking with the mind. They're really spun out and trying to calculate. They're in fight or flight. And fight or flight nervous system is great for very, very, very short bursts of like, I got to run from the tiger, or I got to run to the bus and catch the bus. Your body's energy goes to fuel the muscles, goes to a very focused, narrow perspective in the brain. You're like, how fast is the bus moving and how fast do I need to run? You take the energy away from the immune system, from digestion, and from more of a global focused mind. Like, what is the most important thing I can do with my day today, or what will create the most in my life and in my relationships? You're not in that higher mind, big picture. You come down into a very, very focused, how do I run from the dragon? So, but most people are living actually 99% of their time in this fight or flight state, and it's really, really toxic for your health. So one of the most powerful tools I've created, and I have some videos too for these on my YouTube station. So there's one called Food Foreplay, which is just a quick little check-in with your body before you eat food to turn off cravings and get you connected with well-being. And then there's another one called the Instant Elevation, which we're talking about here, bringing your awareness to your body to shift what's happening in here. And so the first step of that is just awareness. So like I said, a lot of times we're living in our head, we're in very narrow awareness. Relax your body and bring your awareness through your whole body. So you can start with the top of your head and just kind of scan your way down. And then bring your awareness all the way down to your belly, your pelvis, your hips, your feet. Anchor down throughout your whole body. And then just a little check-in. Body, how are you doing? What's going on here? How are you? Now, you may feel fear or like flutters. You might feel heaviness. You might feel, there's lots of things you might feel that have been suppressed that living up here in the head kind of helps you escape from. But you're always going to need more escape. Like, let me go eat this food that's not good for me, or let me go do this job I hate and stay busy, or let me go distract myself on YouTube or social media. So you're avoiding actually feeling what's happening. So I'm just going to ask you to take a check-in for just a few moments and relax, soften your body, and do the opposite. Go into what you're feeling. You don't need to be afraid of it, even if it's uncomfortable. Your awareness of it and just this soften and relax in the body, just that alone begins to let that energy release. So that's kind of the first part of the instant elevation is take a few breaths, relax into your body, actually physically soften, and bring your awareness throughout your whole body, all the way down to your hips, pelvis, legs, and feet. And so if you start off by scale 1 to 10, how do I feel? When I check in and when I notice, how do I feel? 10 is I feel amazing. Wow. You know, I'm high on life. And 1 is, oh my God, just get me off the planet. I can't stand what I'm feeling. So, so as you check in now, what would you say you are feeling on a scale of 1 to 10, just as your general state?
You say me, my state?
Yeah.
I would say I actually just meditated this morning. I had a good meditation, so I'm at least around like an 8 right now, just because at around like
Okay,
9, 10,
great.
I get a little jumpy.
Okay. So now relax your shoulders and then breathe into your belly. So take 3 to 5 breaths. So wherever your number is, if you're a 2, if you're a 3, if you're a 4, let yourself totally relax and settle in. And then breathe and let the belly fill. So like your belly expands out with the in-breath, and your belly sinks back in as you exhale. And the more you relax your shoulders, that will happen very naturally. And so just let yourself take a few breaths there. And then 9 and 10 isn't so much jumpy, but it's a higher frequency of well-being. So it's even more whole, even more peace, even more joy. So just see if you can relax your shoulders, and instead of the jumpy high that we get from like stimulating ourselves, motivating ourselves, or taking an energy drink, see if you can let some high emerge in the body. So we're increasing frequency just by using your breath. So as you relax your shoulders and let the breath come through the belly, you come out of fight or flight. So the second stage here is to turn off fight or flight and come into the parasympathetic nervous system being activated. So instead of fight or flight, you're activating the relaxation response, which has been shown for decades of research to create some of the most powerful healing effects we've seen: anti-cancer, anti-aging, restoration in the body, powerful healing. So now I want you to relax into that and let the breath happen. So 3 to 5 breaths. We're doing a little more right now just to move through this. But as best you can, relax your body, relax your shoulders so the breath expands out, your belly expands out with the inhale, sinks back in with the exhale. Sometimes for the first few breaths, what you're feeling can intensify, but that's okay. It's got to move up to come out. So just stay with it and relax. So how would you say after a few breaths in this relaxed breathing that you're feeling, or what's your number?
I would definitely say it increased a little bit. Maybe if I did a bit more, it'd be like all the way 10, but I'd say it definitely went up to a 9 at least.
Okay.
More
Great.
relaxed,
And so
more
good.
relaxed
So you can, yeah, you can train your body to breathe this way all the time, you know, and most people, we don't need to go into fight or flight maybe for days at a time. So you actually can't, and when you do, like I said, it's usually very, very short bursts. So if we relax this way, the body becomes adept at this new way of breathing, but also becomes adept at this higher frequency. Like, this is natural for me. And what happens is you'll be more aware when you're in a lower state than you were before. That's actually progress. So to be in a low state and be completely oblivious is actually not what you want, because you're numbed out, but your energy is still creating that frequency anyway. So to be in that state and be aware is actually way, 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 way better, even though it's uncomfortable in the beginning. So we did A, which is awareness. We did B, which is shifting your breath. And then C is sort of just a very simple conscious choice. I choose to be in my well-being today. Or I choose to let this fear release and to embrace love and embrace my well-being. Or it could be something simple like I choose to act in favor of my joy and passion today. I choose to welcome abundance into my life. But what a lot of people do with that, maybe affirmations, that conscious choice piece, they just go right for that. I'm going to be in abundance today. Yes, I'm going to have a magnificent life. But they haven't actually done the A and B so that their body is receptive to that conscious choice. So I'm actually going to put C on the side. It's like the lowest part of the totem pole. And A and B are the essential. If all you did was get aware, you're already letting the energy move. B lets you do it in a much more accelerated way, shifting your breathing. And then C is like the cherry on top. I choose to be conscious and well-being today. I choose to love myself fully and embrace myself as I am. So you don't want to go to that one first. So this is a really powerful exercise, the instant elevation technique. And I created a whole program around that called the Instant Elevation Program. But it's the ABC tool that you can use anytime, anywhere. And it's also in the book.
Okay. Thank you for that. I'm definitely going to put the link so anybody checking this out can check you out.
It's at drkimd.com. drkimd.com. And then if you go to drkimd.com/book, that's the ebook version. We're going to be relaunching the second edition version of the physical book as well in about a month.
Okay. I got two more questions for you. Two more questions for you. Really appreciate you for coming and dropping a lot of gems on us. So, in this lifetime, what is the best advice that you've received that you can pass on to someone else?
That's a really great question. I would say trust more in the power that's within you and be willing to have the courage to let go and soften around what you think you need outside of you. We've got a whole medical system created around this idea that it's outside of you, that you're insufficient, broken, inadequate, damaged, not okay. And then you need all these things outside of you. It's not just in our medical system, it's kind of everywhere in our society. But what if you just pause for a second, do this tool, relax your body. If all you did was walk around your life today with a more softened, relaxed body, you will have better outcomes in every single part of your life. So when you open to this, you're actually tapping into this power within you. When we think it's not there, we got to tighten up, toughen up, get into fight or flight, gear up, go for it. But that actually blocks us from receiving it. And so the opposite is to soften. And it really does take courage because we're in a world that says, there's nothing good inside you. You're broken. You're inadequate. It's telling us that in so many ways. So to soften and just get curious, I wonder what might be possible. What else is possible that I haven't considered here? And if all you did was soften your body and breathe, you already let in a whole new universe of possibility. So that would be what I would say is like begin to trust more in what's in here. Let me get curious and soften and just look.
Okay.
And less about what's out there that everyone's telling you need.
Yeah, that's great advice. I really appreciate that. I feel like a lot of us are so caught up with technology outside of us that we barely ever take that time to go inside. So
well, and I know for you, like you have a book in there that you want to write and you want to share something really powerful. And like the more you look and get curious, the easier that book's going to come out and be born and be shared.
Yeah, it's on the way now. Definitely, I'm going to do some softening up so I can get that book out for you guys, Invader Nation. Now, here's the big question, the last question. If you had one big microphone and you could say something to everybody on the whole planet, all ages, all backgrounds, what would you say?
I would say, I love you. We are connected. You're not alone. We are connected. And there's great love for you here.
Okay, that's a great message. I like that. I feel like once you get into a certain once you start doing that inner work, that's when you start to realize more and more how much we all are connected. And
yeah, we're not separate. We're not physical. Like we look at the world like we're primarily physical and the body is primarily physical. But what we've seen in the latest scientific research is that the body is quantum. The body is vibrational. We are pure energy. And when we begin to realize that, everything changes. We realize how deeply connected we are and how powerful we are.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I feel like we're right now. It's this perfect time, and this talk was perfect timing because we are collectively going through a shift and realizing that all at the same time. Now, before we get up out of here, can you tell anybody one more time where they can check you out, where they can get some information, check out your books?
Yes. Well, I'm at drkimd.com, and I go live every week on Wednesday in my YouTube station, Dr. Kim Duramo. And it's also in the Mind Body community in Facebook. So if you're in Facebook, that is a place where we're having a lot of a deeper conversation and how this applies to your body, your health, your manifestation, what you're creating, who you are. That's the Mind Body community in Facebook. And yes, so on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Mountain, I'm live to share, a topic and some tools each week. And you can subscribe on the website. There's like an orange button at the top at drkimd.com. That's a little quiz that brings you through some resources to get greater insight on how to access your power right now.
Okay. Be sure to check out Dr. Kim. I'm going to put some links in the bio. In the description, my bad, I said that. In the description, I'll put some links in the description. I really appreciate you for joining me and Invader Nation. This was a dope talk. I hope we can have more in the future.
Me too. Be well. Thanks for having me.
This is Dr. Kim and your boy Supreme, and we out.